Have you ever experienced the sensation of drifting through life without making progress towards the person you aspire to be? This sentiment often intensifies, particularly around New Year's, as you envision shedding detrimental habits and embracing positive ones. Despite earnest declarations that this time it will be different, the outcome often disappoints, leaving you right back where you started. The crucial question emerges: how can one transform into the envisioned self, breaking free from undesirable habits and effortlessly cultivating the desired ones? James Clear's Atomic Habits provides comprehensive answers to these inquiries. Our upcoming in-depth visual summary of the book will explore key concepts such as habit loops, dopamine spikes, environmental priming, and much more. Ensure you stay tuned until the conclusion of the video, where we consolidate all the information covered and walk through, step by step, how I've personally incorporated the insights from this book into my own habits. Discover practical ways to implement these strategies into your own routines. I trust that this summary motivates you to acquire a copy of the book for yourself, because it truly merits a place on every individual's bookshelf. Let's delve into it. Picture a scenario where a plane is embarking on a journey from New York to Los Angeles. Right before takeoff, you make a slight adjustment to the plane, altering its course by merely 3 degrees or approximately 80 inches. If you maintain a straight trajectory from there on, you would find yourself closer to Tijuana in Mexico than your originally intended destination of Los Angeles. This analogy extends to our habits. Minute alterations in our habits possess the potential to redirect the course of our lives, and these effects may go unnoticed until many years later when we reflect on our journey. Such changes can manifest in both positive and negative ways. It underscores the notion that our habits define who we are. A subtle alteration in your daily habits can lead your life towards a markedly different destination. In the dichotomy between massive action and 1% improvements, we often convince ourselves that significant success necessitates grand efforts in any pursuit. There is an expectation of making quantum leaps or monumental strides that capture others' attention. However, it's the inconspicuous, gradual enhancements that bring about profound transformations. Examining the mathematics behind it, a 1% improvement every day for a year compounds to nearly 38 times better, while a 1% decline daily over a year approaches 0. Habits, whether positive or negative, have compounding effects potentially against you, such as stress or negative self-talk, or for you, fostering knowledge, productivity, skills, and relationships. Success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations. The reality of progress often defies our expectations. Instead of linear advancement, the initial stages are marked by subtle changes that may go unnoticed. James Clear labels this phase as the valley of disappointment, where significant efforts yield minimal visible results. This stage is where many falter and revert to old routines. The most impactful outcomes of compounding processes require patience, as they are often delayed. Goals versus systems. Shift your focus from goals to systems instead. While a goal represents the desired outcome, systems encompass the processes leading to those results. Conventional wisdom advises setting specific, realistic goals to achieve various life aspirations, such as fitness, business success, or spending more time with family. However, the author contends that success can be attained by disregarding goals entirely and concentrating solely on the system. The critique of relying solely on goals lies in the fact that both successful and unsuccessful individuals may share identical goals, rendering goals insufficient to differentiate winners from losers. Additionally, achieving a goal only brings about a momentary change in life. Goals can engender an either-or conflict, where success or failure hinges on achieving the goal. This framework overlooks the nuances of progress in the right direction. Moreover, once a goal is achieved, there is often a post-achievement slump. For instance, completing a marathon might lead to a quick loss of motivation, causing a return to old routines. In conclusion, while goals are effective for setting a direction, systems prove to be superior for sustaining continuous progress. A system of atomic habits. The challenge in altering your habits doesn't stem from personal inadequacy. The prolonged persistence in repeating undesirable habits isn't due to a lack of desire for change, but rather a result of having an ineffective system for change. Atomic habits refer to the small, consistent routines and behaviors that, when accumulated, lead to gradual positive outcomes over time. While significant breakthroughs often attract more attention than minor improvements, the crux lies in the everyday decisions and actions we make. In essence, just as atoms form the foundation of molecules, atomic habits serve as the foundational building blocks for achieving noteworthy results. Behavior change involves a three-tier approach. The initial tier revolves around altering outcomes, focusing on the end results, such as shedding weight, completing a book, or winning a competition. Outcomes represent the tangible achievements. The second tier delves into modifying processes, concentrating on the actions you undertake. This includes adopting new workout routines or establishing daily reading habits, essentially, the behaviors that lead to desired outcomes. The third and final tier encompasses changing your identity, centering on your beliefs, worldviews, and self-perception. It involves altering how you think about yourself and others, ultimately shaping your core identity. While many concentrate on achieving specific outcomes, the most effective approach to transforming habits is by directing your focus towards the person you aim to be, rather than fixating solely on the desired result. The objective isn't merely to acquire a skill, like learning an instrument or running a marathon. It's about embodying an identity, such as becoming a musician or a runner. When a desired aspect becomes an integral part of your identity, behavioral shifts occur organically. By affirming to yourself and others that I'm a runner, for instance, you instill a commitment to live up to that identity. It's a reminder that each workout makes you an athlete. Every line of code written turns you into a coder, and every instance of guiding your team establishes you as a leader. The habit loop. The habit loop is a process where something becomes automatic after repeated instances. The ultimate goal is to have habits that efficiently address life's challenges with minimal effort. A habit is established and strengthened through an ongoing feedback loop, consisting of cue, craving, response, and reward. The key to forming enduring habits is to continuously refine these feedback loops. For instance, when the phone buzzes, cue, there's a craving to know who messaged. This prompts the response of picking up the phone, leading to the reward of solving the mystery of the message sender. Similarly, when the mind goes blank at work, cue, the craving is to alleviate frustration, triggering the response of checking social media and receiving the reward of feeling less frustrated. Over time, the association between cues and rewards becomes ingrained, solidifying the habit loop. In this scenario, the act of checking social media becomes associated with the occurrence of your mind going blank at work. Subsequently, checking Facebook might trigger the urge to check Instagram, and this, in turn, becomes the cue to check YouTube. Unbeknownst to you, what started as a response to a blank mind could result in 20 minutes of unproductive time. As these habit loops are repeated, they gain strength and become more ingrained in your routine. Cues can take various forms, ranging from a smell, sound, sight, person, or location. It's important to identify the cues in your daily life that initiate both positive and negative habit loops. To harness the habit loop in our favor, it's essential to recognize and understand these cues, cravings, responses, and rewards, thereby enabling us to influence and redirect the habit loop for more positive outcomes. This book shows us the 4 laws that will guide us to do just that. Law 1, make it obvious. Many of your existing habits operate automatically, often escaping your conscious awareness. The initial step toward change involves recognizing and understanding your habits. This awareness can be cultivated through the use of a habit scorecard. Jot down all your daily activities using a habit scorecard, capturing everything from the time you wake up to the moment you go to bed. Your scorecard might resemble the following example. Evaluate each habit based on whether it contributes positively, plus negatively, or neutrally, equals to becoming the person you aspire to be. At this point, the objective is not to alter anything, but to simply observe the dynamics of your daily life. As Carl Jung aptly stated, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Lack of precision poses a significant challenge in habit formation, and research indicates that the primary reason individuals struggle to maintain habits is not necessarily due to a deficiency in motivation, but rather a lack of clarity. Vague statements like "one day I will get into shape" are easy to utter, but often fail to generate momentum. What's crucial is specifying both the time and the place for your intended actions. Pinpointing common cues, such as time and location, can substantially enhance your chances of achieving your goals. Articulate your intention to take action using the formula, I will desired behavior at specific time in specific location. A poor example would be, I will read more this month. Conversely, a good example is, I will read a book for 15 minutes daily at 6 a.m. in the spare bedroom. Another effective method is habit stacking. Connect a desired habit to an existing one using the formula, after current habit, I will new habit. For instance, after I brush my teeth, I will stretch for 5 minutes. You can stack multiple habits. For example, after brushing your teeth, you might meditate for 10 minutes, plan the rest of your day, and then check social media. Consistently practicing a chain of habits is more likely to be sustained. The choice of the correct trigger is crucial in this process. You need a trigger cue. Choose a trigger that is an automatic, fail-safe part of your daily routine, such as waking up, turning off your alarm, or brushing your teeth. According to James Clear in the book, motivation is often overemphasized. A more effective approach is to shape behavior by designing your environment. Our environment holds greater sway over us than our willpower or motivation. Maintaining positive habits in a negative environment is challenging. Environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. To establish a habit, it's necessary to reshape your surroundings, at home or work, to 1. Make the cues for desired habits more visible, and 2. Make undesirable habits less noticeable. For instance, if you aim to drink more water, strategically place water bottles around the house in locations where you are likely to notice them. If you want to read more, position the book in a place where you'll see it. Similarly, if you're aspiring to improve your guitar skills, avoid stowing it away in a closet. Keep it visible. Context is cue. The presence of objects in our environment doesn't dictate our behavior. Rather, it's the relationships we form with them that influence us. Instead of viewing your environment as a collection of objects, envision it as a space filled with relationships. For instance, a couch in the living room may serve as a spot for one person to read each night, while for another, it's associated with watching Netflix, enjoying pizza, and unwinding after work. If your connection with the couch is primarily for relaxation, attempting to accomplish work-related tasks in that environment might prove challenging. Consider creating distinct zones in your home for various activities, following the mantra one space, one use. When aiming to break a bad habit, relying solely on self-control in the short term is insufficient. A more dependable approach involves cutting off bad habits at their source, and one effective strategy is to make them invisible by eliminating them from your environment. For example, if you struggle to focus on work, place your phone in another room for a few hours. Similarly, if you're trying to lose weight, keep junk food out of sight or remove it from your house. Law 2, making it attractive. Anticipating a reward motivates us to take action, and the more rewarding an action, the higher the likelihood of it becoming a habit. Therefore, the initial step in establishing positive habits is to enhance their attractiveness. Gaining insight into how dopamine influences your body is crucial for this process. Dopamine and feedback loops. Dopamine, a hormone and neurotransmitter, plays a pivotal role in influencing our motivation levels. When dopamine levels rise, our motivation to take action increases. By monitoring dopamine, scientists can precisely identify the moment a craving emerges. While previously thought to be solely linked to pleasure, we now understand that dopamine is essential for various neurological functions, including motivation, memory, learning, punishment, and voluntary movement. For instance, gambling addicts experience a dopamine spike just before placing a bet, not necessarily after winning. Examining dopamine spikes further, activities like using social media, consuming junk food, and taking drugs are associated with elevated dopamine levels and tend to be highly habit-forming. Dopamine, the hormone, is not only released during moments of pleasure, but also in anticipation of it. Consider the period before going on vacation often. The thoughts and anticipation of the vacation are more enjoyable than the actual experience itself. Dopamine surges, not when you eat the desired junk food, but when you see it. Similarly, drug addicts experience an increase in dopamine upon seeing the drugs, not necessarily after taking them. The craving, stimulated by anticipation, prompts our initial actions. Given that it's the expectation of a rewarding experience that drives our actions, making habits attractive becomes crucial. To leverage this, a strategy known as temptation bundling can be employed. The process of temptation bundling enhances the attractiveness of a habit by pairing a necessary action with one that is desired. For instance, you could bundle something you want to do, like watching Netflix, with something you need to do, such as working out. Temptation bundling aligns with the psychological principle known as Premack's principle, developed by Professor David Premack. This principle posits that more probable behaviors will reinforce less probable behaviors. In simpler terms, even if you may not be enthusiastic about exercising, you become conditioned to do it because it is paired with something else you genuinely enjoy. Group influence. We consistently ponder what will others think of me and adjust our actions based on the response. Our behavior is significantly influenced by those closest to us and the groups we are part of. If you're endeavoring to establish a new habit, one effective method to reinforce it is to seek and join a community where that habit is considered the norm. For instance, if you aim to improve your fitness, surround yourself with individuals who prioritize physical health. Similarly, if your goal is to read more, becoming a member of a book club can provide valuable support. Primal motivators, the origin of cravings. In our everyday lives, we don't typically tell ourselves, "I want to eat this pizza because I need to consume this food to survive." Surface-level cravings are simply expressions of our deeper underlying motives, and these motivations fundamentally guide our behavior. Here are some examples of underlying motives: conserving energy, obtaining food and water, finding love and reproducing, connecting and bonding with others, winning social acceptance and approval, reducing uncertainty, achieving status and prestige. The inclination to smoke cigarettes, check Instagram incessantly, or engage in video games didn't evolve inherently within your brain. Online platforms and products don't create new motivations, but rather tap into the existing fundamental motives ingrained in human nature to capture our attention. Your habits are modern-day solutions to ancient desires, new iterations of old tendencies. The underlying motives behind human nature remain constant. Individuals driven by the desire to connect with others might gravitate towards Facebook, while those seeking love and reproduction motives may opt for Tinder. For those seeking to reduce uncertainty, there's Google, and for those pursuing social acceptance, platforms like Instagram cater to that underlying motive, reprogramming your brain to enjoy hard habits. Hard habits can become more appealing if you can link them with positive experiences. Instead of focusing on the drawbacks, emphasizing the benefits of a habit can swiftly reprogram your mindset and make it seem more attractive. For instance, fitness can be associated with health and well-being rather than fatigue. Cleaning the house can be seen as contributing to an environment conducive to peace of mind, not as wasted time. Saving money can be connected to future financial freedom rather than sacrifice. These subtle shifts in mindset aren't miraculous, but they have the potential to alter your perceptions of certain habits or situations. Make it unattractive. To break a bad habit, do the same but highlight the benefits of not doing that habit to make it as unattractive to keep doing as possible. Law 3. Make it easy. What is the actual duration required to develop a new habit? Throughout the process of habit formation, a behavior becomes more automatic with each repetition. As you engage in an activity repeatedly, your brain undergoes changes to enhance efficiency in performing that task. Even before neuroscientists delved into understanding habit formation, the power of repetition was acknowledged as a potent tool in establishing habits. Each repetition activates specific neural circuits linked to habits. Therefore, rather than framing habit formation solely in terms of time, it is more accurate to frame it in terms of the number of repetitions, reducing friction, the law of least effort. The higher the energy requirement, the less likely an action is to occur. For instance, establishing the habit of reading one page of a book each day demands minimal energy. Habits are more likely to take root when they involve lower energy expenditure. When obstacles are sizable, there is increased friction between you and the desired outcome. For example, if going to the gym involves a 20-minute detour, the likelihood of going decreases. However, if the gym is conveniently located on your route to work, the friction is significantly reduced. Making good habits more convenient enhances the likelihood of sticking to them. Simplifying your life involves finding ways to reduce friction rather than attempting to solve it. To foster better habits, it is essential to identify means of reducing friction associated with positive habits and increasing friction associated with negative habits. Prime the environment for use. By automating or setting up your environment, you can reduce the friction for future action. For example, I will lay out my workout clothes at night so I can get up and get moving in the morning. Or to prepare a healthier breakfast, place the pan on the stove and gather the ingredients the night before. Again, to reduce any friction. Utilizing the 2-minute rule is a strategy to initiate small habits that contribute to habit momentum and eventual success in larger goals. The approach involves identifying a simplified 2-minute version of your desired habit, essentially scaling down your objective. For instance, transforming the goal of running a marathon into the initial step of putting on your shoes and stretching for 2 minutes, or reducing the aim of reading an hour per day to the simpler task of reading just 1 page. The key is to establish the routine and gradually increase the level of difficulty. Once you've mastered the 2-minute habit, you can progress to the next phase. To enhance difficulty, consider creating barriers or friction between yourself and any undesirable habits. Make it as impractical as possible. If you want to watch less TV, unplug the TV after each use and put the remote in an inconvenient location. When you go shopping, leave your credit cards under the seat of your car if you have a bad habit of spontaneous spending. Do anything you can to make your bad habits less likely to occur. Law 4. Make it satisfying. The primary rule for changing behavior revolves around the connection between pleasure and learning. When you derive pleasure from an experience, it sends a message to your brain, indicating, "This feels good. Let's repeat this next time." Pleasure serves as a signal to your brain that a particular behavior is worth remembering and doing again. The principle is succinctly captured in the phrases, "What is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided." The initial 3 habits mentioned increase the likelihood of engaging in a habit at the present moment, while the final principle enhances the chances of repeating the habit in the future. The mismatch between immediate and delayed returns. It is common for us to feel good about our immediate results, but bad about our long-term outcomes when we practice bad habits. It is the opposite with good habits. The immediate result is unpleasant, but the ultimate outcome is satisfying. A certain amount of success in just about every field involves ignoring an immediate reward for a long-term one. It is best to add a little immediate pleasure to the habits that will pay off in the long run, and a little pain to those that won't. How to stick with good habits every day. Quote, "The crucial factor in establishing a habit is to experience success even in a small capacity. The sense of achievement signals that your habit has yielded positive results and that the effort was worthwhile. Making progress is gratifying, and you can track your advancements using visual indicators like moving paper clips, hairpins, or marbles. These little wins can have a significant impact. For instance, for each sales call completed, move a marble from one jar to the completed jar. Similarly, for every 25 minutes of writing, move a paperclip. Visual measures can manifest in various forms, including diet journals, workout logs, download progress bars, or even tracking page numbers in a book. Maintaining a habit tracker can be the most effective way to monitor your progress, providing a straightforward method to assess whether you've adhered to a particular habit. Inevitably, life may disrupt your routine despite your best efforts, whether due to a challenging day at work, a subpar performance, or a lackluster workout. During challenging days, the value of simply showing up often goes unnoticed. Lost days hurt you more than successful days help you. It's essential to maintain continuity without breaking the chain. Even on a tough day, doing a reduced set of, say, 10 sit-ups instead of your usual 50 is better than skipping the habit altogether. Breaking a bad habit, make it unsatisfying. The transformative impact of having an accountability partner. A behavior is less probable when the associated pain is immediate. Having an accountability partner is an effective method to ensure the maintenance of your desired habits. The desire for approval and respect often motivates us to avoid facing the consequences of our actions. For instance, committing to owe a partner $10 for every missed workout, coupled with the loss of respect for failing to uphold one's commitment, serves as a tangible and immediate consequence, making it more likely for behavior to be influenced. The habit contract. You can establish a habit contract as a means of self-accountability, similar to how governments use laws to hold citizens accountable. This contract can be verbal or in writing, explicitly stating your commitment to a particular habit and outlining potential consequences if the commitment is not upheld. Utilizing accountability partners can further ensure adherence to the terms of the contract. Now, let me share how I personally applied the concepts from this book to build systems around my habits in recent months. Keep in mind that your approach might differ or be even more effective, and I welcome any feedback or suggestions in the comments. My goal was to cultivate more consistent workout and reading routines, while eliminating the bad habit of becoming distracted and over-consuming social media. First, I completed the habit scorecard, identifying habits to eliminate and daily habits I could potentially stack with new ones. The aim is to shift desired good habits towards one end of the spectrum and bad habits towards the other. For the workout habit, I employed tools from the book, starting with making cues more obvious. Using James Clear's implementation strategy, I set a specific time and location. I will work out at 6 a.m. in the living room. To design a conducive environment, I placed my dumbbell set in the living room and strategically positioned images of healthy physiques around the house as reminders. Moving to the craving phase, I bundled the workout with listening to favorite podcasts to boost dopamine and motivation. Additionally, I applied brain reprogramming, repeatedly telling myself that I don't have to do a workout, but rather get to build strength and a healthier body. This subtle shift in mindset proved effective. While joining a gym or finding a workout group would be ideal, my circumstances dictated that I work on strengthening this habit independently, making use of the available tools. Next, making it easy. Utilizing the 2-minute rule is crucial to prevent falling into the common trap, where individuals attempting to establish a new habit often take on too much too soon. My aim is to ensure that my habit doesn't feel like a daunting challenge. Following the 2-minute rule, my initial focus is on simple tasks, like putting on my workout clothes and stretching. If that's all I accomplish, it's perfectly acceptable because the key is showing up. Surprisingly, once I'm there, the motivation to complete the entire workout naturally kicks in. It's peculiar how motivation tends to follow after initiating the activity. My mindset revolves around embracing small 1% changes that accumulate into meaningful results. I place emphasis on relying on systems rather than vague goals to guide me towards these results. At this stage, my primary goal is consistently showing up and firmly establishing this habit. Once you've established a consistent routine of showing up, it's time to progress further. To minimize obstacles, I implemented a rule that prohibits me from checking my phone until after completing the workout. This restriction serves to eliminate distractions from emails or social media, removing potential excuses and friction that might hinder the completion of the workout. A significant game changer for me has been priming the environment. Preparing by placing my shoes, yoga mat, and dumbbells out the night before significantly boosts my likelihood of showing up and working out. This pre-planning creates a sense of ritual, making it feel as though the workout has already begun, leaving me with zero excuses. So, having systemized the first 3 phases of the loop to ensure my consistent participation, I focused on addressing the last phase, ensuring the habit repetition. To close the loop effectively, I employed 2 tools in conjunction. Firstly, I use a habit tracker where crossing off each day on the calendar serves as a reward, motivating me to maintain the chain. Additionally, I take a picture of the calories burned during the workout and share it with my partner, providing a sense of satisfaction. In terms of mindset, I start with identity. After each workout, I remind myself that I want to become the kind of person that enjoys fitness and doesn't miss workouts. I deliberately avoid fixating on specific outcomes, like wanting to shed 10 kg by a certain date. Instead, I emphasize the need for patience in seeing results, acknowledging that I might still be in the valley of disappointment. This personal system applies to my morning workouts, and a similar approach was taken with the reading habit, albeit with a few minor adjustments. Employing the habit stack, I connect the trigger cue, making a coffee, with the desired habit. Reading for 90 minutes, I implemented the 1 space, 1 use rule for my reading habit, designating the balcony of my apartment as the dedicated space. Since one of the highlights of my day is enjoying a cup of coffee in the morning, it was the perfect element to combine with this habit. Recognizing that dopamine surges in anticipation of a reward rather than the reward itself, I aimed to associate the dopamine spike for wanting coffee with the act of reading. Applying the 2-minute rule, my initial task was to read just 1 page of The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. It was deliberately straightforward, with my primary focus in the beginning being merely to show up and anchor this habit. Over time, I gradually extended the duration of the habit to around 90 minutes. To eliminate the undesirable habit. To render the habit invisible, I initiated the process by decluttering my phone, eliminating numerous apps. I employed the reprogramming tool to emphasize the unappealing aspects of excessive social media use. I constantly reminded myself that indulging in mindless consumption is the easy and lazy choice of the majority, while productive creation is challenging but ultimately rewarding. I posed a question to myself. Do I aspire to be a consumer or a producer? I labeled aimless scrolling through feeds as an activity for those lacking purpose. The objective was to portray the negative aspects of the habit to deter its continuation. To heighten friction, I deliberately kept my phone out of sight, securely stored in a drawer in a different room while working. To make the habit unsatisfying, I enlisted an accountability partner. My partner plays a role in enforcing this change, and I committed to a penalty system. If caught using social media during work hours, I owe my partner $10. This is the approach I've implemented using this excellent book, and I've seen significant positive outcomes. I trust this summary has enhanced your comprehension of the book's principles. If you haven't yet, I recommend obtaining a copy of the book. The in-depth insights, stories, and advanced techniques shared by James Clear go beyond what's covered in this summary, providing a deeper understanding of habit formation. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next video.